welcome back to my channel. My name is Pam and today's video is going to be all the 2019 stats. So, I love statistics. I love Excel sheets, spreadsheets, I just love it. And in 2019 I filled out a spreadsheet and now I have the charts, the statistic. I do have the results. So I wanted to talk with you about the results that I got for 2019 and what I would like to accomplish for 2020, for the end of 2020. So you're gonna see I'm gonna look over there a lot just because I have my my spreadsheet over there. So yeah, let's start with the amount of book that I've read. This year, I've read a total of 92 books this year. I know I said I wanted to read 2 more before the end of 2019, but it didn't happen. But it's okay. I didn't put pressure on myself at all. I've read a total of 32,305 pages. That's a lot. I'm really impressed. I'm really happy. That makes an average of 351 pages per book, an average, like I said. My goal was to read 75 books, so I think I did pretty great on that. At the beginning of the year, my TBR was at 52 books, and at the end of the year, I was at 68. It's okay. Yeah. The average star rating of my books is 4.2, which is a lot. It's pretty big, which is great. I'm really happy about that. The average time that my books spent on my TBR is a year and 19 days. It's a lot. I need to read more of my backlist of books and buy less books. So let's go with an overall of how many books I've read per month. So as you can tell, the month of March was my best reading month of the year with 18 books. As you can tell also in the beginning of the year, like in the first quarter, the first third in the year, I've read a lot of books. I've read most of my books. Just in January, February, March, and April, I've read 48 books, which is a lot in like 4 months. So, yeah. And like in May, June, July, it was a little bit harder to read more. Then August, I read a lot, 9 books. And that is explained by the fact that it was the Newt's Magical Readathon. So yeah, I tend to read more when I have a readathon going on. Then in September, it just flopped. I started a new job, so that's understandable. And October, November was okay. And December was my worst month of the year. Yeah, I was not motivated. I just wanted my Christmas vacation. That's all I wanted. So yeah, so December was really hard for me, a really hard month. But also the amount of pages that I've read per month, it's pretty similar with the amount of book that I've read each month. So yeah, that's pretty even, pretty much the same thing. For book genre, okay, let's go about the books that I've read. So, as you can tell, 42% of my book were fantasy books, which is no surprise for me. Fantasy is one of my favorite genre. It's probably my favorite genre, so it's the one that I read most of. It's the one that I'm more comfortable in, so that explains a lot. After that, with 14%, it's contemporary, which a little bit surprised me, but not that much. And after that, with 13%, it's science fiction, which doesn't surprise me because I got to read more science fiction this year than any other year. So yeah, I kind of had this out of nowhere burst of love for sci-fi. So yeah. After that, with 9%, we have dystopian, which we can include with science fiction. Some people do include it with science fiction, so that would mean that my science fiction would be the second genre that I read most, with 22%. So yeah. After that, it's graphic novel. Not surprised by that, because I've read the first 7 book or 6 book in the Hamlet graphic novel series. So yeah, that's a lot. After that, with 7%, we have nonfiction, which it's great, but I would like to have more nonfiction for 2020. For sure, I want to read more nonfiction. I think like 2019 was a good year for me for nonfiction, just because I discovered that I kind of liked it, that I do enjoy it. So yeah. And then after that, with like little 2%, I have classics and thriller mysteries. One of my goals for 2020 is to read more thrillers. I have a goal of reading 1 thriller per month. So my percentage of thrillers is going to be much higher next year. So I'm really excited for that. And with little 1%, we have historical fiction. I've read only 1. And magical realism, also, I only read 1. So let's go now with the format of the book that I've read. So with 40%, it's audiobook. I've read a lot of audiobook in 2019. Like, almost half of my books were from audiobook, which is why I've read so much this year. And yeah, I discovered my love for audiobook like in the end of 2018. So in 2019, I was full on audiobooks. I tend to read normally like 1 book physically and an audiobook at the same time. So yeah, it just helps me to read more, and I really do enjoy audiobooks. Sometimes I do drive a lot, and I just think that audiobooks are great in the car. I just love it. When I do the dishes, when I do some work, yeah, I love audiobooks. So it doesn't surprise me that 40% of my books, of the books that I've read this year, was from audiobook. Then we have 33% with paperback and 27% with hardback. Yeah, doesn't surprise me over there either. Then the age range. That is something that I want to change for 2020. So with 60% of the book that I've read in 2019, they were YA books, which is a lot. Like, I do love YA, so that doesn't really surprise me. And I didn't really pay attention of like trying to read more adult or middle grade. But yeah, YA, 60% of YA, it's a lot. So I would like to lower it at maybe 40%. If I can do less, great. But yeah, 40% I think is a good goal. Then with 22%, it's middle grade. In that we have the Percy Jackson series, so that's 5 books. So yeah, just that, and I have others that I've read too. Then adult, 18%, which is not a lot. I would like for it to go to maybe like a 40%, this one too, like maybe half YA, half middle adult, and the rest middle grade. That would be pretty great. And one of my goals for 2020 is to read more adult, to at least read more, at least 1 adult book per month. Then the star rating, like I said, my average star rating was 4.2 stars. I gave 1 book 1 stars. I gave 2 books 2 stars. I gave 15 books 3-star. I gave 37 books 4 stars and 37 books 5-star. So how I rate my books is by enjoyment. So if I do enjoy a book, it's gonna be like I really, really enjoyed it and I'm still thinking about it, that's gonna be a 5-star. If I really enjoyed it, but I had some issues with it or some stuff I didn't care for, it's gonna be a 4-star. If I'm more like meh about it, like it was good, it's not bad, I'm just meh, and I tend to forget about it, or I was just disappointed, I'll give it a 3-star. A 2-star and a 1-star is because I really hated the book. So I didn't really hate any book this year, so that's great. As you can tell, like I said also earlier, the average pages per book that I've read are 351 pages. Yeah, as you can tell, my books tend to be, like most of my books tends to be between 300 and 500 pages, I would say, maybe even 400 pages. One of my goals this year, again, for 2020 is to read more big books. So at least one big book per month. So that's a book over 500 pages. So all the data of like 500 and more, I hope they're gonna be like higher next year. And yeah. Something that really, really surprised me is the author gender. Like, I thought I read more male authors for some reason, but afterthoughts, it's not really surprising that I did read like 62% of my book were by female authors. You know, if we go to like the age group, YA books tends to be more from female author. So yeah, it surprised me at first, but then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, it completely makes sense that 62% of my books were by female authors. 37% were by male authors, and 1% was from a non-binary author. I want that number to be higher for 2020. I would like that. I'm completely fine with the difference between female and male. I'm really happy that I do read more by female authors than male authors. So I would like that to stay like that, not change for 2020. That would be great. Another thing about the books is the year that they were published. So I was pretty surprised, I would say. I don't know. Like 50 books that I've read were from the 2010s era. So from 2010 to 2017, because I had other slots for 2018 and 2019. Yeah, 50 books. Like 54% of my books were in that era. That not decade, because it's not like 10 years. I've read 12 books that were published in 2018. I hope it was more, just because yeah, I have a lot of 2018 books on my TBR currently. I read 7 books that were published in 2019, which is a bit disappointing just because so many books came out this year, but I think it's just maybe because a lot of those were from like series that I haven't even started. So yeah, 5 books were from the 90s and 15 books were from the 2000s. 1 book was from the 30s, and 2 books were published in the 1800s. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. That's all I can say. That's interesting. So this is it, guys. This is my 2019 reading statistic video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you want to know for 2020. So maybe I can add more statistics. I have some ideas, but I would like to know yours. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!